I take a class in Yiddish for this reason, because I had launched something called the Oral History of the American Left at the Labor Library in New York, Townman Library, at New York University, with the aspiration of following up my dissertation called Marxism in the United States with a lot of oral history. I'd thought about oral history before. I was fascinated by storytelling, but I realized that the generation that was fast fading, those who were 80 years and older, had a lot of insight, a lot of understanding, a lot of humaneness that was crucial to grasp if I was serious about social history and the history of the American left, and even the history of the global left, because they were predominantly immigrants. So quite innocently, having founded this Oral History of the American Left and not thinking too much about who I would be interviewing, I happened to cross the Yiddish-speaking communities and in various cities. And they were so nice to me and so wonderful. They were the grandparents I had imagined having. And actually, I sort of think I was the grandchild they imagined having, because unlike their children and grandchildren, I was actually interested in the story of their lives. I wasn't tired of hearing it, I suppose. And they gave me, or more, sent me, books that were left over when their friends and comrades had died. Now, I should emphasize that I approached every group that could be considered on the left, from labor Zionist to anarchist to anti-communist socialist to previously communist, and a handful of people who were still in the Communist Party. There weren't many of those. And everybody was sort of friendly, except there was a tendency everywhere, except among these former communist readers of the Morgan Freiheit, just then ceasing to be a daily and becoming 3 times weekly, 2 times weekly, once weekly, and so forth. All the other factions tended to view history as we were vindicated. All these things happened, and wasn't everybody else wrong but us? Which isn't the best for an oral history interviewee, because you can't probe very deeply. On the contrary, these Morgan Freiheit people, the majority of them widows in their 80s, not all of them, were eager to say that they were terribly wrong about a bunch of things, Russia in particular. But they were eager to engage. They were analyzing their own past behavior and trying to understand how they'd lived their lives. So that was a real biggie, but also the fact that if you interview people in their 80s, you always wonder how they lived so long. And part of it is a sense of humor, that's there. But another part is, these people I interviewed, they'd known each other since they got to the US in 1918. And most of them had been blue-collar workers in greater New York. So I got a sense of community that was very deep and very intense and enviable, I should say, since the discontinuities of my life would not have allowed something like that. But it sure did give me a deep sense of friendship and its meaning.